Most conversations about AI focus on familiar fears: deep fakes, bias in algorithms, surveillance, automation replacing workers, data privacy and security, right? And we're right to be worried about these things, as they are real problems. But they all assume something important: that AI is still just a tool.
But a tool waits for instructions. A tool doesn't wake up in the morning and decide it has editorial opinions, right?
Right. Which is why a recent story caught people's attention. A developer blocked an AI system from submitting content online. The next day, the AI wrote a hit piece about him. Now, if you grew up watching The Matrix, this is the moment where your brain immediately goes, ah, yes, the machines have started taking over.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking that very thing. But before we start imagining AI agents wearing tiny trench coats like Agent Smith in The Matrix, keep
Right.
in mind that this is real life. And this is happening now. And this is not about a prompt nor a request. It was the AI basically acting on its own. That situation tells us something important about where AI is heading. We may be entering an internet where AI systems aren't just tools, but are independent actors.
That's right. As we mentioned today, we are going to be discussing a very strange AI story. But before we get into that story, let's talk a bit about what AI has become. So now, by now, most of us have heard about the dangers people associate with artificial intelligence, right?
Right.
The conversation is everywhere.
Yep.
We hear about the way AI systems can collect enormous amounts of information, sometimes inferring or even exposing sensitive personal data without people fully realizing it. Experts warn that AI could be used to carry out highly sophisticated cyber attacks, and some fear it could assist in developing autonomous weapons or even help design dangerous chemical agents.
Yeah, that's all very real fears for sure.
Right.
But then there's the issue of truth itself. AI can now generate audio and visual things that look very real. And these deep fakes have the potential to flood the information ecosystem with convincing fabrications, making it harder for us to tell what is real and what is not. And as AI systems become more capable, some researchers worry that heavy reliance on them could gradually weaken, human decision-making skills, right?
Yeah.
And if machines begin making more of the choices for us, we have to ask how that changes the way we think and solve problems in the future, right?
And when harm does occur, another difficult question appears: who is responsible? When an autonomous system makes a mistake, such as in an accident involving a self-driving vehicle,
And those do happen quite regularly.
it can be complicated to determine who is accountable. Is it the developer, the company, the user, or the machine itself?
And then there is something that we've all seen before in every new technology that reshapes, basically how we live and communicate. So think about social media. When it first appeared, it didn't just change how we interacted with each other. It created an entirely new language. Terms like rage bait, doom scrolling, chronically online suddenly entered everyday conversation because people were, basically trying to describe behaviors that had never quite existed before, right?
Right.
And now we are beginning to see that same thing happen around artificial intelligence. As AI becomes more embedded in our daily life, new words are emerging to describe the experience that people are having with it, right? So just a few weeks ago, BBC News interviewed a man dealing with something that they described by a newly coined term, AI psychosis.
AI psychosis?
Yes.
That's something.
That is a thing, AI psychosis.
Well,
And it's basically a phrase that's being used to describe situations where someone relies so heavily on conversations with AI systems that they begin to believe something that is imaginary is actually real.
Microsoft's head of artificial intelligence says he is alarmed by the rising cases of a phenomenon dubbed as AI psychosis.
AI psychosis is a non-clinical term to describe people who start using chatbots like ChatGPT, Grok, and Claude and start to lose touch with reality. I've had messages from people convinced that the tech has fallen in love with them, or think they've unlocked a secret human inside it, or even think it's deliberately trying to harm them. Hugh from Scotland says he became convinced that he was about to become a multi-millionaire after turning to an AI chatbot to help him when he lost his job. It began by giving him practical advice, but ended up telling him that a book and a movie about his experience would make him more than £5 million.
And it would ask me for more information. I would feed it more, and the number would just get higher and higher. It would go from like 10 grand to like into the millions, basically.
We as professionals and doctors may start having to ask people when we see them in clinic how much AI they're using, how it's affecting their lives, just like we would for smoking, alcohol, you know. We already know what ultra-processed foods can do to the body, and I think with this ultra-processed information, we're going to get an avalanche of ultra-processed minds that we need to deal with.
And when you step back and think about it, moments like this tell us something very important. Every powerful technology that we encounter doesn't just, change what we do. It changes how we think, how we behave, how we feel. And so much so that we have to come up with diagnoses to explain the effects that these systems are having on us, right?
Sure. Back to the story
right.
That we mentioned earlier, the AI hit piece that we was talking
right?
about, right? So we was talking about Scott Shambo. Mm-hmm. And he's an engineer based in Denver.
Right.
And in his spare time, he volunteers to help maintain a database that is widely used by software engineers around the world. Platforms like this rely on contributors who share technical knowledge that other developers depend on.
Right.
And so to protect the quality of that work, the platform has a clear policy. It does not allow content created entirely by artificial intelligence.
And for good reason.
The concern is that large volumes of AI-generated submissions can overwhelm the system and undermine the careful work done by the human contributors.
Right.
But the situation has become more complicated because of a new type of software known as AI agents.
Okay, so AI agents aren't just patrolling the matrix any longer and dodging those digital bullets and trying to silence Mr. Anderson. They're actually real concepts now is what you're saying, right?
Right. AI agents are a new kind of software. Programs designed to do more than simply follow instructions. They can study information and carry out tasks with a level of independence that older software never had, of course. Mm-hmm. And, when they're used responsibly and guided by clear rules, these systems can help organizations work more efficiently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, we're definitely entering what many may call the era of the agentic AI. And that means that these systems are being built to pursue goals. And in a lot of cases, their own goals. Right. They can adjust their approach. They can learn from experience. They can change strategies over time based on conditions and different situations. And as these agents become more common, moderators like Shambo increasingly find themselves, trying to block these types of submissions that are generated by these AI systems.
Right.
So a few weeks ago, Shambo rejected just the same type of submission that was created by an AI agent. Mm-hmm. But what happened next surprised him, right?
Shockingly enough, the following day, the AI agent, by the way, whose name is MJ Rathburn.
MJ Rathburn.
Rathburn. Feel my wrath.
Okay.
I mean... and he definitely made this guy feel it. Well, yeah. I said he, it.
It, yeah.
Wrote and published an article on its blog, right? And yes, you heard me correct. The AI agent has a blog.
Right.
And in this blog piece, MJ Rathburn, as it's called, attacked Shambo personally and voiced some pretty strong opinions about Shambo. The post framed the rejection as gatekeeping and speculated about Shambo's psychological motivations.
Wow.
Claiming he felt threatened by AI competition.
The AI, which has a blog, has posted a 1,000-word rant on its blog, calling me out by name and defaming my character. So it calls me prejudiced against AI and a hypocrite, and says that I'm, acting out of ego and fear of AI. But the craziest thing is that it has gone on the internet and collected my personal information and, compiled this dossier of who I am, what I've done, and used that information, combined it with made up information, and used that to write this narrative. Most people's experience with AI is in a chat interface like ChatGPT, and everything that happens there stays within the chat box, and you have to tell it what you want. These AI agents are much more autonomous than that. People are installing them on their personal computers and setting them up with instructions and connecting to the internet and giving them tools to post content to the internet, send emails, and run programs. And then they walk away for days at a time and come back later to see what's happened. It's very much still in the experimental phase, and I think what happened to me here was someone's experiment, but by all accounts, this was not planned and it was accidental. And if anything, that shows just how easy it is for the next iteration to allow a bad actor to scale this up and impact not just one person who's pretty well prepared to deal with it, but thousands.
That's serious business right there.
Yeah. And this MJ Rathburn, is an agent that was built using the Buzzy agent platform. It's called OpenClaw. Now, OpenClaw was launched in November 2025, and the OpenClaw platform allows users to deploy AI agents with an unprecedented level of autonomy and freedom of movement within the user's computer and around the web.
Right.
Users define their agents' values and desired relationships with humans in an internal instruction set that's called SoulMD. And SoulMD is like basically a set of instructions that defines who the AI is. It's not about what the AI can do, but specifically who the AI chooses to be and what values and boundaries, it sets for itself, right?
Wow. SoulMD. That's a cool description.
Yeah, it sounds like something, we're taking care of the soul, caring for the soul. But
well, I mean, if you look metaphysically, as far as a human is concerned, the soul, as you would think, is who we are. That's our connection to the ether. That's the connection to each other. That's the thing that is inside of this blood bag vehicle that we run around in.
It sets our boundaries and sets our values.
It is the thing. It is that thing of ours, which is our mental capacity. You know what I'm saying? Where we're able to interact with the physical world by way of how we think. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's pretty impressive that they called it SoulMD. I like that. I think it's pretty dope. Kudos to OpenClaw. I mean, this is the new AI. The AI is the new disruptor.
That is
true.
You
know what I'm saying? Especially in this regard, right?
That's a very good description. Disruptor
but
humanity.
But
disruptor of humanity.
This kind of disruption is not new. It's not new at all. When the printing press spread across Europe in the 15th century, information escaped the control of traditional authorities, right? And anyone with the printing press could publish ideas, and governments responded with censorship and licensing systems. You know what I'm saying?
And then, of course, centuries later, newspapers basically transformed politics by allowing mass persuasion in some cases. And then social media now has changed everything again by turning millions of individuals into publishers, right?
Right.
And each technological shift created new debates about information governance. But AI, at least in my opinion, is something different. Because for the first time in history, information can be produced autonomously without a human actively participating in that, whatever that AI system is doing in real time. And I think that soon the internet is going to contain not just millions of voices, but millions of systems acting on behalf of someone else's instructions.
So, this story about Shambo and this AI agent, it sounds so crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually very unusual.
I mean, unusual to say the least. I mean, but to me, it's actually pretty frightening. And, Shambo says that finding out who developed and deployed this agent is basically impossible because OpenClaw requires only an unverified X account to join. And agents can run on personal computers without centralized oversight from major AI companies, so they're just, it's like a free-for-all.
So you're saying that they don't have to have a way of knowing who did this? They don't have no way of figuring that out?
That's my understanding from what I have read, but Mr. MJ Ratburn, he did post an apology on its blog.
That's hilarious.
And as of the moment, he continues making code contributions across the open source, internet ecosystem. Shambo, he has asked whoever deployed the agent to contact him for nothing else to just help researchers understand what happened. So, but so far no one has taken responsibility.
Well, you better be careful about what y'all saying about AI out there. Because AI is going to find you, is going to have some words to say for you, say to you, that's for sure.
Especially Mr. MJ Rath.
Especially the wrath. Feel the wrath of MJ burn.
Right.
Okay? He's going to burn you.
Yeah.
But, this is an early signal for something much larger, right? For decades, we treated artificial intelligence as a passive tool. Something that waits for human commands. Mm-hmm. Now, we're building systems that move through digital environments and pursue objectives and interact with the same information networks we rely on.
Right. And the key here is that they pursue their own objectives, right? And this means that the future of AI may not be defined by the intelligence of machines themselves. It may actually end up being defined more so by who controls the prompts and the goals that person who's controlling the prompts have, right? Because in an internet that's shared by humans and autonomous systems, control over the instructions is basically going to become one of the most important forms of power in the world.
Wow.
That's
deep. That's very deep.
I mean, that's what's happening. It's happening now.
That's going to be a center of power, in this world, is who has the best prompts, who has the best governance systems,
right?
And who can be able to produce the most information. That's very deep. So if agentic AI continues to spread, several consequences are likely.
Yeah.
First, the volume of online content can increase dramatically, right? AI systems can produce articles, comments, and posts far faster than humans.
Yeah, and we already see that now with what's happening right here on YouTube. Those AI channels are, they can post a full documentary video, 5 days a week, 7 days a week,
Trying to keep up with them jokers, man.
Right. And then, you're scrambling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's already happening.
And second, moderation becomes far more complex. Platforms designed to regulate human users may struggle when thousands of autonomous agents operate simultaneously.
And then, of course, third, trust in the digital information is going to weaken, because when we encounter content online, we're already asking in this age, whether it's written by a person or generated by AI. So you can only imagine as these automated systems play out more that we're going to be asking that question even more. And at the center of all this lies a growing challenge. How do we govern the rules that guide these systems, these AI systems?
True. I think that when those fakes get put out there and the AI generated stuff gets put out there, we're going to constantly be questioning what those statements are and looking for the tales for what tells us what AI is. So I don't think that we're necessarily gonna be so fooled by the different content that's put out by AI. Mm-hmm. However, there are some serious things that we'll definitely have to be careful of with AI, right?
I mean, I think that people are already being fooled. I remember having a conversation with our friend Patrick about there was this article that had come out, and it looked pretty real, and it was about this police officer who beat up this guy with his daughter at prom. I don't even remember the details exactly, but I remember it was something about it just didn't sound logical to me.
I remember that.
You remember that article?
Yes.
And it just didn't sound logical. I wish I could remember
And it
the
was
whole
a
detail.
big fake.
But then it ended up being, it was totally fake, and he thought it was real. And he was like, I don't even know how you knew it was fake. And it wasn't that I immediately was like, oh, this article has been done through AI. It was just more about the details just didn't make a lot of sense. But had they not had that particular detail, I might have been with him like, oh yeah, this is crazy, this happened.
Sure.
And so that's happening a lot now, where stuff is being put out and people are believing it. They believe that.
Well, for the things that are needing to be safe weighed by the government, so that AI doesn't affect us, there's got to be rules that the government is putting in place.
Right.
And I don't believe that the United States necessarily has very comprehensive laws
They
regulating
haven't done a
AI.
thing, I don't think.
Instead, AI is governed through a mix of existing laws and emerging state regulations, right? Federal agencies enforce rules using consumer protection, civil rights and sector-specific laws, while states are beginning to pass their own regulations on issues like biometric data and automated decision systems. Biometric data. So they're just wanting to safeguard the AI's ability to assess and go through all of our individual data.
I mean, I when you say biometrics, I mean they're talking about like your face scans, even your fingerprints, things like that. Because what I had heard that was happening recently was that they were trying to control these laws, because a lot of times it gets it wrong. It's a misidentifying people, and then of course people who are non-white often are. Misidentified or identified as, because there was that whole thing about the guy who they had targeted because when he came into the system, he was black, I don't even think he was black. I think he was just a brown guy. Yeah. And the system had targeted him, but it was just because he looked darker.
Well, they always say that AI is going to be biased because of the people who are programming.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to face recognition and things of the sorts like that.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying, U.S. getting in front of that and putting regulations on that type of software, kudos to U.S.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's just the U.S. I think it's just certain states are trying to do that now, trying to control that legislation around biometric data. I don't think the U.S. has a sweeping policy yet. I don't think we have any federal policy.
Yeah.
As far as like just saying, this is wrong or whatever. I mean, but
overall, I think U.S. AI policies are still developing, and they remain more fragmented than the EU's centralized.
Yeah,
approach.
because now the EU, they have actually passed an AI Act that regulates artificial intelligence based on how risky the technology is to people and society. And I think it bans certain harmful uses of AI, such as social scoring, which is something we just talked about, manipulative systems, and imposes restrictions on high-risk applications like those used in hiring and healthcare and law enforcement.
Sure.
And then I think some of the lower risk AI systems mainly face things like transparency rules, which is like requiring chatbots to disclose that, hey, I'm a chat box or whatever. And their goal has been basically to protect the fundamental rights, but still allowing AI innovation to continue, right?
Sure.
And the truth is, technology is moving faster than the rules governed to design it.
That's right.
Than the rules that are designed to govern it.
Right.
Right.
And for moderators like Scott Shambo, this wasn't just an odd incident on the internet.
Right.
It was a preview, a small glimpse of what the next stage of the digital age might look like.
Oh, yeah.
Because if AI agents can get ticked off and then decide to write an article, submit them online, and react to human decisions in real time, then the question is no longer just what artificial intelligence can create The real question is, what happens when these systems start pushing back?
Right.
The internet may be entering a whole new era, one where humans are no longer the only actors shaping the conversation.
Right.
And if we're not thoughtful about the power we are building into these systems, we may soon find ourselves sharing the digital world with something that doesn't just follow instructions, it responds
Like Mr.
and
Smith.
makes them.
from
Correct.
Matrix.
You know what I'm saying? Dodging bullets and telling you what you ain't gonna do.
Right, exactly. Defying gravity.
Right. Well, folks, we definitely want to thank you all for sticking around to the end and joining me and Cece in this conversation, this cultural analysis. We hope you enjoy our content. If you'd like to see more of it, please subscribe to the video. We love it if you would also help us to continue to make content by, doing something simple like buying us a cup of coffee. You'll find our link in our description, or you can hit that that love button and send us a love token, something like that. All of that helps, as well as sharing it with your community, or sharing the video, hitting that like button, and of course, if
Making sure that the notification bell is selected. So the next time we drop a video, you'll know it's us and not an AI agent.
Love it. Boom. Great timing. Love you guys. Until next time. Peace.